patience as we handle our technical difficulties. My name is Frank Sherman. I'm with the 7th Generation Interfaith Coalition based in Milwaukee. We're a Midwest-based coalition of faith-based organizations trying to align their investments with their values. We started some 43 years ago in trying to influence corporate behavior. Part of that effort, we came to realize shortly after a tragedy happened in Bangladesh, the Rana Plaza tragedy, that it was going to take more than just investor voices. We're going to have to hear from all stakeholders to affect real change. And that's why we started a consumer-based effort called the Human Thread, which was directed towards Catholics in trying to align their actions and behaviors with with Catholic social teachings. Some of you that made the Mass here today at St. Clement's heard a little bit about consumerism and what's in it for me. This is trying to maybe give you a different view on that and trying to make you think beyond your daily consumerism approach that we have in this country. So with that, I'd like to introduce a couple of people. This tour is being sponsored by the Human Thread, and our campaign manager, Jonathan Landano, will be doing most of the presentation today. But we also have Solidarity Ignite representatives here in the back who are also sponsoring this tour and bringing workers around the country. We have a very special program today. I think in addition to education, you'll be hearing the stories, the testimonials from the actual workers in the garment industry. So with that, I'll introduce Jonathan. Thank you for coming. I was remiss in not thanking our hosts here at St. Clement's. I think they've been with us on this journey from early days. So I think St. Clement's is certainly fertile ground for social justice and just Catholic awareness to Catholic social teaching. So thank you, St. Clement's. Jonathan.
Good afternoon. I wanted to make mention to the Nation Solidarity Network as well. They're out there in the back. They're certainly part of this tour, and they're going to be escorting the workers that came so far for us throughout their stay here in the United States. So how many here are St. Clement's parishioners? Raise your hand. So most of them. Anybody not come from St. Clement today? Okay, a few. All right, yeah, awesome. Cool. So this is, I've done a number of worker tours in the past, and these are my favorite events to be able to bring workers to the people that buy their products. And so this is, normally this is a stop that would happen at a university. This is the first time that the workers have ever actually spoken at a parish. And that's something that the Human Thread has been able to do. And we're actually talking at the Cathedral of Milwaukee later tonight, and just such a wonderful opportunity to be able to share this with you guys. Frank told you a little bit about who we are, what we do, so I'm not going to get too much into that. Get rather right into the presentation here. So we have a little bit of a survey for you guys, and the first question is, do you know? And if you don't, just maybe guess before you check, but. Without looking, where was your shirt made, or your coat, whichever is the easiest tag to check. So think about it for a second. If you know it, how many people know it right off the bat? Like, I know exactly where the shirt I was wearing right now is made. Okay, so a few. All right, so if you don't know, take a guess and take a look. Use your partner next to you, maybe check their tag. See where it was made. All right, so where were some of the places that you found? Just go ahead and name them.
China.
China.
Vietnam.
Bangladesh.
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Turkey.
Turkey. Hong Kong. Okay. Hong Kong. Peru. Canada. Okay, we got one Canada. Pakistan. Okay. All over the world, right? And I think our T-shirts are more well-traveled than all of us put together. I think that's pretty safe to say. I haven't been to any of those places, not even Canada, not yet. So question number 2 is, and maybe use our answers as a clue here, but what percentage of the clothes bought in the U.S. is made in the U.S.? 1%.
10%.
10%.
5%.
5%.
No, 80%. No,
So 20%. Okay.
I was bringing people in.
All right, the correct answer is actually 2%. So the 1% was the closest. So 98% of the clothes that we buy here in the U.S. is not made here. And given here's another trivia. So very quickly, anyone know how many garments per year an average American buys? How many pieces?
40.
40, 50, 20, 10, 100. All right, the correct answer is 64 is the average. I mean, think about how many times people go out shopping and they come back with 10 plus items, and how many times they do that a year. So Americans, on average, per person per year, buy 64 garments. And it makes sense given the fact that fashion is always changing and stores are always wanting to put new products on the shelves, right? Fashion seemingly changes with the seasons. So, as when summer ends, you need a new wardrobe. When fall ends, you need a new wardrobe. It is this culture of constantly putting things out and always having things available all the time, regardless of the time of year or whatnot. Given that fact, and the fact that they're always, companies are always wanting to put new things on the shelves, there's an enormous pressure to be able to produce an enormous amount of fabrics, an enormous amount of fashion. So what are the 3 most common labor issues faced by workers in the garment industry? So talk about it in maybe 15 seconds and think about what kind of abuses would happen in a workplace if there's an enormous pressure on factories to be able to put a high output of clothing at the lowest price. So take maybe 15 seconds and talk to the person next to you and think about what these would be. All right, okay, so let's battle out some answers.
Factory conditions.
Factory conditions, okay.
Wage theft.
Wage theft.
Long hours.
Long hours.
Child labor.
Child labor.
Unsafe conditions.
What's that?
Unsafe conditions.
Unsafe conditions, okay. Awesome, those are actually some really good answers, yeah.
I would say the uncertainty of the work period, that they get somebody to be laid off and told not to come in.
Okay, so job security, absolutely, right. Those are some really good answers. Definitely on point with factories that have a lot of pressure on them to take orders and fulfill them in a certain amount of time. And these kind of issues, you guys were spot on, by the way. These kind of issues lead to problems. This is a picture of the Rana Plaza building in 2013. This is a building in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is then and still is the cheapest industry to buy garments out of. And one of the issues of Bangladesh is that the buildings were not built for the purpose of producing garments. They were actually, factories were brought into existing buildings that were not safe to operate as garment factories. And this was the case with Rana Plaza. And the workers knew that. They knew this building was unsafe, and the day that they refused to work, this building came down. They were forced back into the building under the threat of losing their month's pay. Not the day's pay, the month's pay. And they needed that, right? And certainly the physical and verbal abuse is gonna put you back in the building when your monthly budget is at jeopardy, right? 20 minutes later, the building collapsed on the workers. 1,200 workers died that day, with another 2,000 that were injured. We think about it, that's 1,200 families, 30 plus 2,000 families that lives were affected by this. Their lives wouldn't be the same after this. 1,200 families suffered loss, and these are mostly mothers, daughters working in this building for these brands that we don't really think twice about buying. So this was the largest industrial disaster in the history of the garment industry. And this didn't happen in the 1920s, this didn't happen in the 1990s, this happened in the 21st century and well into the 21st century. And this was not Bangladesh's first incident. They had factory fires killing hundreds before this, and other incidences. So it's very unfortunate that we can be here in the 21st century and not escape these problems. So after this happened, Pope Francis came out and spoke against this, calling this slave labor, especially considering the wages that the workers in Rana Plaza were making. And they were making about $60 a month. Very, very low wages. So for the last 2 years, the international spotlight in the garment industry has been on Bangladesh. And there's a lot of movement around this issue since then. And Catholicism calls for our faith, calls against this. Pope Francis, when he spoke against this, it was a big deal. And labor is not an issue that is shy to our faith, nor should it ever be. Pope Benedict wrote about it. Pope Francis has written about it. The U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops has it in our Catholic social teaching. In fact, our Catholic social teaching says work is more than a way to make a living. It is a form of continuing participation in God's creation. So if you are working in a factory making $60 a month under wage theft, overtime, you're working 12 hours a day under a constant threat of verbal abuse or physical abuse, are you really being your full self? You think about how many hours a week that you are spending time in a factory. Are you able to share yourself fully with others? Probably not, right? But if you were working in a factory that treats their workers with dignity and employs people with dignity, and you're happy to do what you're doing, you are more fully able to participate in something greater, right? In participating in this creation the way that is intended by God. So it's why we're here today, and why living wage initiatives like Alta Gracia are so important to be recognized and to be praised. This is something that Catholic institutions have noticed increasingly. In fact, the Nation Solidarity Network has partnered with Alta Gracia to make this more aware to the Catholic institutions. Notre Dame has made a commitment to Alta Gracia, their football official, the shirt every year that's come out. The last few years has been Alta Gracia. St. Louis University High School has made a commitment to Alta Gracia. Georgetown, their bookstore is filled with Alta Gracia products, as is Creighton University. But still, there's a disconnect between consumerism and Catholicism, and consumerism and Catholic institutions. And it's a little bit unfortunate that we have to push for it, but we're happy to do so. And without further ado, I'll give the mic over to Hanoi, who's a union representative with Alta Gracia in the Dominican Republic, and Elba Nunes, who's a sewer with Alta Gracia. So, yeah, one question.
You mentioned wage theft. Mm-hmm. What exactly is that? Is that the boss?
Right, that's a great question. So, yeah, wage theft is essentially work that goes unpaid. So it's very common for there to force overtime, usually under the threat of job security. You know, you have to work this amount period, or you have to have this amount, this quota done today. And if you have to do it off the clock, then you essentially do it off the clock without getting paid for it. It's very common in the garment industry, very, very common practice. Yeah. All right, we'll have time for questions after, and the workers will present their thing. You have a Q&A with them. And, yeah. All right.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here and for taking time to hear our stories. My name is Hanoi Sosa. I'm a union organizer from the Dominican Republic. I'm an organizer with the Dominican Federation of Free Trade Zone Workers. And, well, she is going to introduce herself now, and I will serve as her interpreter.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Clement Parish. Gracias por la invitación. Soy trabajadora de Altagracia Project desde el 2010. Tengo 2 niñas y para mí es un placer estar hoy con ustedes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Clement Parish. I'm a worker in Altagracia Project in the Dominican Republic. I'm a mother of 2 kids, and I'm a sewer there. So thank you very much for inviting us here, and I'm glad to be here today.
Sí, porque anteriormente yo trabajaba en una empresa de nombre... Ok, ¿me puedo sentar o tú vas a leer? Ok.
Okay, so what we're going to do is to give you like a brief explanation of what is Altagracia, what we've been doing, and then I'm going to give her the time to tell you more about her experience, which is a first-hand experience and a life-changing experience. Well, basically, Altagracia is more than a brand. It's kind of a tool that we can use to change the system and to create a new standard. Altagracia is the only apparel factory that pays living wage to its workers and that implements fair trade, the ideal for trades in the practice. So it came out of a huge fight that involved students, consumers, and workers in the Dominican Republic. It started its operations in 2010, and before 2010, it had another name, it was another factory. It was called BJ&B, and it was a very abusive factory, as the majority of the factories in the free trade zone system, not only in the Dominican Republic, but everywhere around the world. That's why federations like Federazonas, the one I represent, have been working in order to help workers and to provide them support when they want to organize and claim for their rights, which is very, very difficult in countries like the Dominican Republic. Just to give you an example so you can have a better idea of how it is. In the Dominican Republic, if you are a worker and you, for example, are caught using drugs at work, you might be fired, or you're going to get a warning probably. If you're caught like stealing things from work, you're going to be fired. Or even if you slap your boss, you're going to be fired. But if you're caught organizing a union to claim for your rights, you're going to be fired, you're going to be blacklisted, and you might be arrested. So it's very, very difficult for the workers to fight for their rights in countries like the Dominican Republic, and I know in many other countries around the world. So Altagracia came out of a huge fight that involved, as I mentioned, students from organizations like USAS, United Students Against Sweatshops, like WRC, which is an independent labor rights watchdog, and the workers. They were working in BGNB for many years. They were mistreated, they were disrespected, they were forced to work overtime, which was in many cases unpaid. They had a serious problem with sexual harassment against women there. So because of that, they decided to organize. And the majority of the workers at Altagracia now, they used to work for BGNB in the past. Nuris is going to tell you a little bit more about it. And well, after that, they succeeded. They negotiated a collective bargain. But years after that, the company left to Bangladesh, as many others, because in Bangladesh they could implement even worse conditions than in the Dominican Republic. So well, then the workers, the students, and people from WRC got together again and they committed, the WRC and USAS committed to get a factory, to get another investor, to reopen the factory in Villa Altagracia, which is the community where Altagracia is located. And this new factory will be totally different. So we'll have the commitment of respecting human and labor rights. And then we have Altagracia. So the Altagracia model is based on 4 major elements. The first one is living wage. Altagracia pays the living wage to its workers, which is more than 3 times the average income of a worker in the free trade zone system in the Dominican Republic. In the Dominican Republic, we have 16 different minimum wages. The second lowest one is the one that is paid in the free trade zone system. It's equivalent to $160. So an Altagracia worker makes 3 times, more than 3 times that, and they have salary adjustments every year according to inflation. That has helped them a lot because that helped them improve their lives, improve the life of their families. Now they can enroll their kids in school, which they couldn't do in the past, many of them. They can enroll themselves in school. They can cover other family needs like medical insurance. They can provide better food to their families. So they can provide better housing for the families. The second, one good thing about it is that in the Dominican Republic, but especially in communities like Villa Altagracia, we have a serious problem of lack of job source. So many people have to migrate to other communities far away from their families, which has led to separations, long separations that has destroyed marriages. So Altagracia has helped people to keep their families together. And, well, another thing is, the other element is decent treatment. So Altagracia is an environment, a work environment, free of sexual harassment, free of any sort of abuse, verbal or physical, which is common and in the free trade zone system in the Dominican Republic, and is free of any sort of bigotry. So Altagracia workers have a voice at work. They have a union. The company, when the company was born, the union was born with the company as well. So they have the right to organize, and there is no retaliation coming from the management or the company owners because of the workers organizing and claiming for the rights. So whenever there is an event that affects the rights of the workers or that violates the rights of the workers, they have a voice that is heard. And they can address to the management, and it's not like, they have their difference, workers and management, they have their differences. But they sit down and talk about it and find solutions beneficial for both of them. So the third major element is social security. In the Dominican Republic, we call social security to a system that is comprised by 3 major elements as well. The first one is medical insurance and labor risk protection and pension funds. Even though it is mandated by law, not all the companies or a big percentage of companies do not comply with that. Well, Altagracia complies with all that is mandated by law, providing all the services and all the benefits of Social Security to workers, including maternity leave, including protection for disease of families and related. And the other one, the fourth one, is the work environment, a safe work environment. If you ever have the opportunity to visit Altagracia, you're going to see that everything is signposted, properly signposted. They have fire extinguishers everywhere. Workers they don't have to take a break or to talk to a supervisor to go and grab some water. They have water dispensers everywhere in the whole factory. They can make a quick stop, go grab some water, go to the bathroom at any time. They don't have to wait for or ask for permission to do so. Or they don't have to wait for their breaks. You spend your breaks in the line for the bathroom or for getting grab some water. So that's been very beneficial for their health. And well, Nurse is going to testify about everything I'm saying because she has witnessed all that. So all that has made Altagracia a unique model. And that's what we are supporting in the Dominican Republic, and that's what we came here to ask you to support today. So now I will let Nurse to talk to you and to tell you about her experience.
Yo lo haré así. Muy bien.
She said it's not going to use the microphone.
Bueno, les decía que Altagracia nació en febrero del 2010, en la cual yo soy operaria y estoy ahí desde marzo de la misma fecha. Esta es una empresa modelo, ya que es la única en República Dominicana y el mundo que paga un salario digno 3 veces por encima de lo que es el sueldo a nivel de zona franca en República Dominicana.
So as I was mentioning at the
Use
beginning,
the mic. Yeah, we need it.
Okay.
Thank you.
as I was mentioning at the beginning, I'm a worker at Altagracia. Altagracia started its operations in February 2010. I was hired in March of the same year, so I basically have been there since the beginning. And Altagracia is a unique company, and because it pays a living wage to its workers, which is more than 3 times the average salary of a worker in the free trade zone system.
Decimos que es una empresa modelo, ya que es la única que tiene un trato decente para todos los empleados dentro y fuera de la fábrica.
So we said it's a unique model because it's the only company that delivers a decent treatment to its workers inside and outside the factory.
Anteriormente yo trabajé en una empresa llamada BJB, en la cual a los empleados no se les daba un salario digno, la cual yo contaba con 1.200 pesos semanal, el cual si quería adquirir algo por encima de mi salario tenía que trabajar hasta las 9 de la noche y los sábados hasta las 5 de la tarde, la cual me cohibía ir a mis estudios y permanecer menos tiempo con mi familia.
So, well, the reason why we say it's a model besides what I just mentioned is because it's way different than other factories, for example, in the Dominican Republic. In my personal case, prior to work at Altagracia, I worked for another factory which was called BJ&B. And they delivered such a poor treatment to workers. And they paid a very low salary to workers. I remember it was 1,200 pesos a week. It is like 4,800 pesos a month, which is equivalent to $130 or $120, something like that. So it was very difficult for me to cover all my family needs. I have to work a lot of overtime. I remember that at some point, some weeks, I had to work until Saturdays at 9 p.m. in case it were when I want to buy something and my salary was not enough. And I remember I had to jump out of school because I had no time to study.
Esta empresa, aparte de que no pagaba un salario digno, las mujeres eran irrespetuadas, o sea, los supervisores mayormente le exigían a las mujeres que tuvieran muchas veces hasta relaciones con ellos, con tal de permanecer en su puesto de trabajo. Exigían demasiadas horas de trabajo, la cual muchas veces nos decían, si tú quieres trabajar, tú eres la que sabe, o te vas o te quedas. Esto le cohibía a muchas personas de que puedan estudiar y terminar su carrera, que en ese tiempo, lamentablemente, muchas mujeres eran madres solteras y necesitaban su trabajo.
Yeah, this company, besides paying a low salary, then they disrespected the workers, especially women. Women were constantly mistreated, sexually harassed, catcalled. I remember cases when supervisors approached to workers, to female workers, to ask them to go out with them or to demand from them sexual favors for them to be able to keep their jobs. And they, well, in many cases, these workers were single moms. They really need their job, and they had to do, what they were asked for. In other cases, they were forced to work long hours. And when they complain about being at work for such a long time, they say, the only reply they get from their supervisors was like, you take it or leave it. So you did this job, we're giving you a job, you have to stay here working, as long as we want you to stay, otherwise you just go somewhere else. Many of them wanted to study, to get enrolled in school, and well, they had the same situation. They had no time for school, they just had time for work.
Lamentablemente en ese tiempo no teníamos a nadie dentro de la empresa que nos defendiera, y cuando esta decidió cerrar sus puertas, dejando a miles de padres y madres sin empleo dentro de la comunidad de Villa Altagracia, ya que lamentablemente no contábamos en ese tiempo con otras empresas dentro de nuestra comunidad.
So, well, this company, well, mistreated the workers, as I mentioned, and in many different ways. And, well, unfortunately, at that time, we didn't have any defender. So, well, we had to take all the abuse and everything they wanted to do to us. And, well, after that, after many years, they just left. And they shut down their operations, they left, and in the same way, they left everybody without a job, without any hope.
Luego del cierre, un grupo de empleados, en conjunto con universitarios de aquí de los Estados Unidos, se unen en una lucha para pedir a las marcas que eran las que compraban en ese tiempo nuestros productos, que eran gorras, para los juegos de béisbol aquí de Grandes Ligas en Estados Unidos. Le exigían a ellos que por favor implementar lo que era una bonificación en base al tiempo que habíamos trabajado dentro de BJB, ya que nuestra empresa, o sea, sí, 7 meses por encima del salario que íbamos a recibir, ya que lamentablemente íbamos a quedar desamparados, ya que sus puertas de BJB cerraron. Eran 7 naves en ese tiempo y no teníamos más nada, la cual exigíamos que nos dieran por encima de nuestras prestaciones 7 meses más a las embarazadas, que le cubrieran su maternidad, y 3 meses de lactancia.
So I remember that when this company decided to shut down, a group of workers, they stood up and said, hey, you made a lot of money here, so you should give us something. So because you're just leaving and we're not going to have a job after that. So what they were demanding from the company to pay severances and to give them like a bonus, like a 7-month bonus equivalent to 7 months of payment for as an employment protection. And there were many pregnant workers there, and they needed medical assistance. They needed medical insurance for them and for their babies. So they were asking or demanding from the company to cover that before moving to Bangladesh, which was the country they were moving to. So they refused to do it. Then there was a group of workers from the United States, which were consumers, and, well, workers not, but students from the United States, which were consumers, and they got together with the workers who were demanding these things I mentioned from BJ&B.
Luego de varios meses de lucha, logramos recibir nuestras prestaciones. Las mujeres embarazadas también le dieron su dinero, pero nuestra comunidad quedó como un cementerio porque lamentablemente no teníamos ninguna empresa la cual nos diera empleo. Esto, lamentablemente, muchas parejas tuvieron que separarse, ya que tuvieron que ir lejos de la comunidad de Villa Altagracia a buscar otra fuente de empleo para mantener su familia. Muchas mujeres tuvieron que hacer lo que lamentablemente son trabajos indeseables, como decimos allá, porque tenían sus hijos y tenían que llevar la comida, tenían que llevar lamentablemente su mantención a su familia, y esto es muy triste.
So it was a very difficult situation because, well, we won that part, so we received what we were demanding at the time, but yet we had no job. So after BG&B left the town, Villa Altagracia became like a ghost town. You know, BG&B was the only job source that we had in the town. So after they left, we had nothing. Many people had to leave the town to move to different areas in the country, many very far away from our community, you know, to get a job. It led to the separation of many families because, you know, parents had to go to different areas to get a job. Many of them had to leave their kids behind, you know, had to leave their kids with relatives to take care of them while they get a job in other communities. So it was very difficult. Many women, and they had to do things which they were not very proud about. because they had to put food on the table. They had to protect their kids and to take care of their kids. The majority of them were single moms. So it was a very sad and a very difficult situation for all of us.
Luego de un tiempo, al ver que ninguna otra empresa abrían las puertas de empleo en Villa Altagracia, muchas personas entonces optaron por el puesto de trabajadora en casa de familia. En el caso mío, yo tuve que buscar la opción de empleo. Todos conocen la marca Avon. Yo estuve vendiendo en la calle por varios meses, venta por catálogo, la cual lamentablemente no es un salario digno para una madre de familia. En el caso mío yo tengo 2 niñas, tengo mi esposo, claro está, pero cuando una persona es la única que lleva el salario a la casa, no es lo suficiente, donde hay que pagar casa, alimentación, colegio y ropa, o sea, y en Villa Altagracia lamentablemente la comida es bastante cara.
So, like I said, those were rough times. We waited, for other company to go and take the place that was left behind by BJ&B, but no one came, and we, many people, especially women, they enroll in domestic labor, and which is not a good job, it's not good labor anyway, it has a lot of issues as well. And some others just, like I said, just left the town. And I remember in my case, I had to take a decision. I left the town, I got a job, I'm selling, doing catalog sales, for Avon products. Like probably all of you know what is Avon. And you know that this job of selling Avon products through catalogs is not even a job. So you don't even receive a salary. It's a very, very low income, especially for a mother. And I'm a mother of 2 kids. Even though I have my husband, and he helps us a lot, he supports us, support our family, but having only 1 income for a family of 4 is not enough at all. So I had to get this job, which was not good at all, but it was a job.
Pero gracias a Dios, después de varios años, nació Altagracia, pero no vino sola. Nació de una lucha de jóvenes que se unieron a los estudiantes universitarios de aquí de los Estados Unidos para que en Villa Altagracia se creara una fuente de empleo, pero diferente a lo que era el nivel de zona franca, como BJ y BTK Dominicana, con un salario digno, un trato diferente y que la persona se sienta como en su casa. Porque lamentablemente si usted no está cómodo en su lugar de trabajo, usted no puede sacar una buena producción.
So, well, then after that, years after that, thanks God we had Altagracia. Altagracia came out of this fight, this huge fight involved students and workers fighting together to start a new model. So students, they got the commitment of another investor of creating a new factory, but this factory is way different than what we had before. So it was way different than BJ and B. And well, that makes us feel proud, because now our conditions are totally different.
4 factores que nos identifican muy importante en Altagracia es el salario digno, como le expliqué, eso es un salario por encima de lo que es el salario a nivel de zona franca. Otra cosa es la seguridad, higiene y seguridad dentro de nuestra empresa, ya que tenemos todo el área señalizada, extintores para, o mejor dicho, para cohibirnos de que cosas como pasaron en Bangladesh, la India, la China, no ocurran dentro de nuestra empresa, porque lamentablemente se perdieron muchas vidas humanas y eso debió poderse corregir a tiempo para evitar que eso suceda.
So the other thing, Altagracia is, what makes Altagracia different is a group of elements. And the first one of them is living wage. It's a factory that pays living wage, and that helps improve the life of its workers. And like I mentioned, so it's 3 times or more the amount of money that a worker receives, an average worker receives in the free trade zone system. And the other thing, which is very important to us, is that we work in a safe environment. Everything is very well organized, doorways are cleared, and everything is signposted. we have evacuation routes, we have extinguishers. So because since we know, we heard a lot about what happened in Bangladesh and other incidents in countries like China, like India, we don't want that to happen. So now Altagracia workers, management strives to provide a safe work environment.
La empresa también trabaja en conjunto con el sindicato y los trabajadores de la mano para evitar que en caso de que suceda un accidente podemos evitarlo porque tenemos una doctora entrenada dentro de la misma fábrica porque lamentablemente los accidentes pueden ocurrir en cualquier momento, pero en caso de que suceda tenemos un consultorio y una persona entrenada. También tenemos un equipo de primeros auxilios para en caso de que haya una emergencia ellos puedan auxiliar lo más rápido posible.
Well, something she said before and I didn't mention is like, well, we pay attention to what happened in Bangladesh and we understood that that was something that could be prevented. And we don't want that to happen in the Dominican Republic. We know incidents happen, accidents may happen, but we took the measures to prevent them or to take actions, proper actions to help people in case they happen. So now she's saying one of the actions that the management and the workers working together have taken is to have an infirmary room inside the production floor with a doctor which is very well trained. So in case that there is an accident, the person involved in the accident, the person affected, will be well taken care of.
Otro punto es el trato decente y la libertad sindical, ya que nuestra empresa nació con el sindicato, porque por medio de la lucha sindical es que tenemos Altagracia hoy día en República Dominicana. También es, como les decía ahorita, el trato decente es porque anteriormente los supervisores abusaban de las mujeres con tal de que ellas permanecieran dentro de su área de trabajo, la cual esto no se da hoy día en Villa Altagracia, porque si una persona abusa o dice alguna palabra fea, como decimos nosotros, lamentablemente esta persona puede ser expulsada de la empresa.
So another thing which is very important to us is the decent treatment and union freedom. So the union was born with the factory, and it is very important because it helps us to claim for our rights. And in the past, like I mentioned before, we had to go through a lot of things, a lot of abuse, a lot of harassment. Supervisors, managers who abuse of their position, who disrespect workers, who harass workers. It doesn't happen at Altagracia. So Altagracia is very different, and everybody's conscious that Altagracia is supposed to be a free harassment environment. So in case that someone from the management or a worker to another worker, a worker disrespect to another worker, or someone say use or any form of verbal abuse against a worker is going to be punished, because that won't be tolerated.
Y cuando hablo de que la persona tiene la libertad de pertenecer al sindicato es porque en algunas empresas se da el caso de que si usted quiere entrar al sindicato puede ser expulsada, allá no. Si usted quiere ser parte del sindicato, eso no tiene ninguna consecuencia. Usted como quiera va a pertenecer en su empleo, ya que el sindicato trabaja en conjunto. No es que son amigos, no, con la gerencia, pero sí trabajamos para beneficio de los mismos empleados.
So another thing is, like what I was saying about union freedom. So in other factories that I worked in the past, and if someone tried to be part of a union or tried to affiliate to the union, in case there was a union in the factory, that person was going to be fired immediately. But Altagracia is different, so any worker can decide to either be part or not of the union, and there won't be any retaliation. So if they want to be part of a union, they can just go ahead and affiliate. If they don't want to be part of a union, they just disaffiliate or say no in case that they're invited to be part of a union. And it is really important because, union plays a very serious role in factories like Altagracia.
Otro factor importante que no se me debe olvidar es que la empresa paga a tiempo lo que es la seguridad social, ya que en República Dominicana lamentablemente los empleadores no pagan a tiempo a la seguridad social y en caso de un accidente dentro y fuera de la empresa, cuando la persona entonces requiere de ir al médico o una asistencia de emergencia, lamentablemente no tiene lo que es la cuota básica que tiene que pagar las empresas para que el empleado pueda recibir una buena asistencia médica. En el caso mío, por ejemplo, yo en el 2012 tuve un accidente de trayecto a la casa al trabajo, la cual me partí la meseta tibial de la pierna y requerí de varias cirugías.
So another very important factor in Altagracia is the Social Security. You know, we as workers have the medical protection, we have labor risk protection, and Altagracia really makes a difference with this, because in the Dominican Republic, the most part of the companies, they don't comply with that. So many companies even discount the money from the workers, but they don't pay the Social Security to the Social Security system. In many cases, workers have been paying for many years to the Social Security to receive medical insurance, and when they have an incident, you know, when they get ill or when they get an accident and they try to get medical assistance, they find out that they are not protected because the company was not making the payments. So they were basically stealing money from the workers. It doesn't happen at Altagracia. I remember that in 2000, in 2012, I had an accident and I broke one of my legs.
Bueno, cuando recibí asistencia médica, gracias a Dios, requerí de varias cirugías, 7 meses de terapia, la cual todas fueron cubiertas por la Seguridad Social, pero era porque Altagracia tenía tiempo pagado las cuotas, también los medicamentos, y la Seguridad Social me pagaba un 80% de lo que es mi salario dentro de la empresa. Que en República Dominicana, lamentablemente, esto no se da muchas veces en algunos casos, porque el empleador no paga a tiempo su cuota. Entonces el empleado tiene que sacar de su propio dinero para pagar lo que es cirugía o medicamento.
So in my case, after the accident, after breaking my leg, then I had to go through several surgeries, and I spent 7 months at home receiving therapy, and well, all that was covered. So I didn't have to pay a dime because I was fully covered at Altagracia, and the reason why I was fully covered and the Social Security system made all the payment is because Altagracia was paying and was making the payments on time and was making all the payment which corresponded. So it doesn't happen very often in Altagracia. A case like mine, a case of workers having health issues or having accidents and receiving all the support and all the coverage they need is not very common in the Dominican Republic. So what is common there is like workers having this type of issues and having to make payments out of their own pocket because the companies were not paying what they were supposed to pay to the Social Security system.
Luego de un año después del accidente, la empresa nuevamente me abrió sus puertas, la cual estoy aquí hasta el día de hoy en esta empresa. Algo muy importante que tenemos en Altagracia es el horario, ya que nosotros trabajamos de 7 de la mañana a 5:30 de la tarde, la cual esto nos da más tiempo para estar en la casa con nuestra familia. En caso de las jóvenes allá que estudian, ellos también pueden tener más tiempo porque los viernes salimos a la 1 del día. Trabajamos de lunes a jueves de 7 de la mañana a 5:30, pero los viernes salimos a la 1 y no regresamos hasta el lunes siguiente.
Well, something else she mentioned previously that I lost is like while she was in the medical license and receiving the therapy because of her accident, the Social Security system was paying her 80% of her salary. So she was all covered for the expenses of the treatment, but besides that, she was receiving 80% of her payment at home. So after that, she said, well, another good thing about Altagracia is the schedule. So we work a flexible schedule. So we work from 7 a.m. to 5:30. That's from Monday to Thursday.
De lunes a jueves entramos de 7 de la mañana a 5:30. De 7 de la mañana a 1 del día.
So from Monday to Thursday, we work from 7 to 5:30. And then on Friday, we work from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that gives us a lot of time to spend with our families or to spend in any other activity that we want to spend the time. So many of us, there are students, many young women are, after working at Altagracia, they have re-enrolled in school or in college. So this flexible schedule gives them the time to attend classes and to study, do whatever they want to do. Some of us just spend our time with our families.
En otro tiempo peleábamos por no trabajar hora extra. Aquí es diferente. La persona quiere que le anoten cuando se requiere, claro. No es obligatorio, pero cuando hay hora extra, la persona quiere que lo dejen trabajando, ya que el salario sube por encima de lo que es el salario normal. Y esto ayuda a que la familia por lo menos tenga más beneficio para su misma familia.
So in the past, none of us wanted to work overtime. So we had to be forced to work overtime. But now, at Altagracia, everybody wants to do overtime. Because it's more money, because it's a very nice environment to work. So we understand that after working overtime, we can get some more money that we can spend in our families, and that will be really beneficial for all of us.
También esta es una empresa modelo, ya que contamos con sillas cómodas para trabajar. Las mujeres embarazadas tienen 5 minutos antes de la salida para evitar que puedan ser empujada o algo por alguna persona. También cuando esta persona sale del embarazo, le dan media hora para que puedan lactar a sus bebés. Esto es dentro de los 6 meses, de los primeros 6 meses. Ajá, cuando salen de la licencia.
So, yes, besides that, another benefit that Altagracia delivers as part of the decent treatment to its workers is ergonomic chairs where the workers spend the day working, so that will protect their backbones. And it's not common in the Dominican Republic. The majority of the workers in other factories, they perform their duties seated in wooden benches, with a very hard, a very tough surface. So that affects her health in a very important way. So at Altagracia, we have ergonomic chairs for all of the workers, so they can perform their job in a comfortable way. And in the cases of pregnant workers, they leave 5 minutes earlier than the whole crew to avoid that, since they have to make a line to punch out, to avoid them to be pushed away by someone. So they leave earlier than others. And after giving birth, they have maternity leave, 3-month maternity leave. And after they come back, after giving birth, then they have
6 meses.
For the next 6 months, they have to leave early. They leave half an hour early so they can go home and breastfeeding their babies.
Los jóvenes también que estudian en la universidad tienen la oportunidad de tener un permiso en la semana, ya que la empresa le otorga ese horario para que ellos tengan la posibilidad de alcanzar sus metas. En el caso de Altagracia tenemos hoy día unos cuantos que están estudiando en el área de radiología, ginecología y pediatría.
So another benefit is that we have many people there enrolled in school and colleges. Many of the Altagracia workers, they have the opportunity to move forward in life because now they can afford education. And Altagracia provides not only the money they need to study because of the living wage, but also the time they need for them to perform their duties related to their area of study. So many of them are studying radiology, gynecology, and other careers, and they are planning their lives now based on what they're studying because they know it's going to give them a better life.
En otra empresa no se da este caso, ya que mucha gente lo que piensa quizá en su propio beneficio y no en la superación de los demás. Por eso nosotros siempre estamos pendientes de que las personas que tengan interés de superarse lo puedan hacer y que puedan tener quizá en un futuro otra clase de trabajo en la cual ellos se puedan desempeñar mejor. porque no podemos tampoco cerrarle las puertas a que las personas quieran hacer su propio esfuerzo.
So it doesn't, it's not the same in other factories, you know. Usually what happens in other factories, in other line of businesses, that the management only cares about money. So that's the only thing they care about, and they don't care about workers' well-being. So Altagracia is different. Altagracia is concerned about workers' well-being. Altagracia strives to be a place where workers want to work. So everybody who wants to move forward, everybody who wants to study, who wants to start a family, everybody who wants to progress in life can count with the help, with the helpful hand of Altagracia, management, union, and other workers.
Algo importante para mí es que anteriormente ningún banco me llamaba para solicitarme un préstamo. Ahora hay días que la llamada, dime, necesitas una tarjeta de crédito, necesitas un préstamo, porque cuando trabajamos en BJB, al tener un salario tan bajo, la persona no podía solicitar préstamos a los bancos. Hoy día, por eso muchas personas hacen sus préstamos y han cambiado sus vidas, tienen sus propias casas y muchos de ellos ya tienen su propio negocio, la cual tenemos unos cuantos que tienen ya lavandería, salón y puesto de uñas.
So another thing which is very important for me personally is, and you know, it's kind of funny because in the past I didn't have any access to a loan from a bank. So every time I asked for a loan, it was denied. Because, you know, I worked for BGNB and they paid a very low salary, so the bank knew that I had no way to pay. You know, but nowadays they call me every day to offer me loans, like, do you want a loan? Do you want a credit card? Or is there anything we can do for you? Because they know I'm receiving a living wage, and now they know that I have the capacity to pay back. So it's not only my case. Many of us have received loans, important loans. So many of us have started their own projects, like many of them have been able to build their own houses. Some others have started their own business. I have a case of a worker who is the owner of a little laundry service company. Another one is the owner of a beauty salon. You know, another one has one of these places where that's because now they can count on the assistance of private banks, and these private banks know that they will be able to pay back if they receive a loan because they now are receiving a living wage.
Pero no solamente nosotros recibimos los beneficios de Altagracia, también las personas de la comunidad, porque por medio de nuestro sueldo también se benefician otras personas. Por ejemplo, los motoristas que nos transportan de un lugar a otro, la joven que cuida de nuestros niños en la casa, las personas que tienen otros quehaceres, como por ejemplo la muchacha del salón, la persona que venden las comidas, las cafeterías, se benefician por nuestro salario también, y eso da también un beneficio a la comunidad.
But maybe the most important thing here is that this benefit from Altagracia impacts not only its direct workers, but also the whole community. So our community is being positively impacted by Altagracia because the money we receive, we spend it in our communities. So people who provide services like transportation, people who provide services like markets, like food markets, like people who provide services of, for example, domestic labor. So they all receive money from us, and we can now afford their services. We can afford buying goods, more goods, because now we are receiving a living wage. So Altagracia has had a great impact not only in our lives, but also in the lives of everybody in our community.
Quizá el impacto no. Sí. Quizá el impacto no se ha sentido mucho porque es una sola nave, la cual cuenta con 133 empleados, pero sí estamos luchando, estamos tratando de que nuestra empresa crezca, y pienso que para eso estamos aquí, tratando de que ustedes que son las personas que llevan el mensaje, los jóvenes universitarios, puedan pensar de que, gracias, de que las personas que están allí esperan por ustedes, cuentan con su apoyo. Gracias.
So, well, that's why the impact hasn't been bigger, you know, or as big as we want it to be, because it's a very small factory. We're only 133 people working there. But it's been a great impact anyway. And that's why we want Altagracia to grow. We want Altagracia to be expanded. We want this model to be replicated, not only in the Dominican Republic, but everywhere around the world. And that's why we're here, guys. That's why we can talk to you. That's why we really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. Because you, as consumers, you can spread the voice, and you can help us to keep growing. And we just want you to know that we count on you, and that 133 workers in the factory and many other people out of the factory are waiting for an opportunity, and they are counting on you as well. So thank you so much. So finally, just to close, is what we want for you is to basically to spread the voice, about what you have heard today. So we want you to tweet on Twitter, to post on Facebook, to tell everybody you know about what is Altagracia, the life experience, the life-changing experience it has been to all of its workers. The Altagracia is a good way to make this world a place where people can live in a friendly way. So we really appreciate what you all have done for us, and for you to take the time to listen to us. And well, in case you have any question, we will be willing to answer it.